Oh boy, Vinicius with an incredible second half hat-trick, but you can't help but feel like Dortmund kind of did this to themselves in some ways. And of course, all of the action from Wednesday's matches as well. What's up guys, and welcome back to UCL This Week. My name is Adrian. Thank you for joining me, and let's get after it. Oh, as I said in the intro, Borussia Dortmund, you had it all, and then you committed seppuku at halftime and made things way worse later on. So as you know, Borussia Dortmund lost 5-2 at the Bernabeu, and if you were looking at this score at the end of the match, it wouldn't really be much of a surprise. Big win for Real Madrid? Hey, we've seen this. Well, I was surprised as at 4-2, I started focusing on the Juve match, and that was a good call, by the way, but I missed the fifth goal. But had you watched the first half, hell, even moments in the second half where they could have won it, and you would understand how this was an incredible missed opportunity for Borussia Dortmund and an incredible own goal by them, really. Dortmund torched Real Madrid's backline in a matter of minutes in that first half, or more like Daniel Malin torched their backline. The first goal was a brilliant slide pass from Guirassy between two defenders. Just look at this angle, stunning, threading it, eh? Clean finish from Malin, then Malin beat Mendy down the right flank and hit a driven low ball through the six that Jamie Gittens got on the end of. What a start to the season for Gittens, 2-0, just like that. Minutes after, and Real Madrid woke up, with Bellingham spurting a great chance into Kobel's arms, then Rodrigo and Bellingham hitting the bar within seconds of each other before a deflected strike off of Brandt nearly beat his own keeper, or nearly looped in. Brandt also almost beat Courtois at the end of the half for 3-0. I mean, it was madness in that first half. And then the mistake happened. Nuri Sahin made a big mistake. I mean, easy for us to say in hindsight, yes, but even as the match was happening, the game state hadn't shifted yet, and Dortmund were doing fine with their current setup in swapping Gittens out for Waldemar Anton, a defender, with the idea that they would defend deep and absorb the pressure from Real Madrid, when he perhaps could have done that with the players he already had out there, and Gittens would have been an incredible outball to have in order to escape and punish Real Madrid in transition. I mean, inviting pressure from Real Madrid at the Bernabeu just seems like a wild choice from Sahin. And sure enough, once the floodgates opened, the goals came quick and fast. First, some great work from Mbappe to beat his man to the byline, then put the ball on a platter for Rudiger to power past Kobel. Great header from Rudiger. Then Mbappe collecting the ball from a great pass, followed by a great tackle. But that tackle actually squared it to Vinicius to tuck it in for 2-2. 2 goals in 2 minutes. How does Sahin respond? He gets spooked by his team bleeding 2 goals and takes off his other best attacker, his other best outball for Dortmund's transition or counter-attack, Daniel Malin, for another central midfielder in Pascal Gross, which was I won't even make a pun there. Sorry, I almost did it, but I won't. They just barely managed to hang on for about 20 minutes, and Borussia Dortmund really should have scored against Real Madrid in the 82nd minute, but they squandered their chance with some passing that was a bit looser than they would have liked. Bayer did get a save out of Courtois, but they should have got a goal instead. And wouldn't you know it, you don't kill Real Madrid, they kill you. Story old as time. And one of the guys that was getting the most heat from Real Madrid supporters at halftime, Lucas Vazquez, was the one that got the winner. The ball did fall kindly to him, but he did well to power it past Kobel. Then Vinicius scored a fourth and a fifth, a hat-trick for Vinicius. Insane. You can't help but feel like this was a fumble, allowing Real Madrid to come at you while playing at the Bernabeu, while cutting off any danger that your own team has going forward, is an interesting decision. But Sahin is a young coach, and he seems like he's pretty damn good, so he'll learn from this. PSG had a scare against PSV as they found themselves down 1-0 at halftime at the Parc des Princes as their crappy Champions League campaign continued. Really uninspiring stuff from them. At the half of this match, they had 89 consecutive attempts in the Champions League without a goal. Absolutely crazy stat. Oh, and shout out Noah Lang for his great goal, which was very Mbappe-like for the Parc des Princes viewers, cutting inside and then hitting a powered strike low past Donnarumma at the near post. I'm sure the Parc des Princes viewers have missed that. 1-1 the final there. Oh yeah, and that Juve match that I was speaking of. They welcomed Stuttgart to Turin, and they were not good or I guess they were actually good hosts. because Stuttgart was the superior team in this one and deservedly got the win, though it came from a 92nd minute goal from substitute El Bilal Touré. Great give and go with Enzo Milo as Stuttgart cut right through the heart of Juve's defense, and then a calm finish past Perrin, who was absolutely Juve's best player of this match, by the way. 9 saves on the night. So Stuttgart get their first win of this Champions League campaign, and Juve get their first loss. AS Monaco, the team I said everyone needs to fear. They lulled Crvena Zvezda into a place of false comfort coming into the halftime, where it was 1-1, then it was 2-1 right before the half, as there was a nice finish from Embolo. And then a crazy second half scored. Singo may be the goal of the night. Absolute rocket from like 35 yards out. Insane strike from him. Minamino got his second on the night, and Akliush finished it off in stoppage time to make it 5-1. I do feel for Embolo. He put the ball in the net 3 times and only 1 counted. But Akliush, star boy. Like I said, AS Monaco are dangerous. 5-1 that could have felt like it could have been a 10-1 with the amount of close calls, attempts, chances going off of the woodwork, etc. Arsenal hosted Shakhtar and won 1-0 from what was given as an own goal from Ruznik, but it was one of those that the ball goes off of the post and then off the keeper's ass and in, you know? Arsenal had other chances to further their lead, such as Trossard's failed penalty, amongst others, but David Raya also had to make a fantastic save in the 92nd minute to ensure Arsenal held on to all 3 points in this one. Their performance really dropped off in that second half, as you could see how missing Odegaard and Saka affects Arsenal quite a bit. Aston Villa continue their dreamy Champions League campaign. That's 3 wins from 3 now after they defeated Bologna at Villa Park. Yes, 2 of their wins were against sides that you absolutely expect Villa to defeat, like Bologna and Young Boys, but do not forget, they also defeated Bayern Munich. Duran with yet another goal, though this time he was the starter against Bologna, and then John McGinn. This was one of those free kicks that should never go in, but it does because the keeper is expecting a touch on the way through, and that touch never comes, and it just ends up bouncing in the goal. The funny thing about Duran's goal, by the way, he was about to get subbed off himself. Usually his goals are on the other side of those substitutions, but this time he scored before he himself was subbed. Not the easiest finish, by the way, just the kind of acrobatic thing that only someone with the confidence and form that he has right now could pull off. It was a beauty. 2-0 Villa. Girona got a 2-0 win at home as well. Against Slovan Bratislava, who are basically becoming free 3 points for everyone who they are facing. They have 0 points and a -10 goal difference, the worst team by far in the Champions League. Sturm Graz are another team who have 0 points from 3 matches as they lost at home against Sporting. What a surprise. The incredible Viktor Gyökeres scored once again to take his record on the season to 13 goals and 4 assists in 13 appearances for Sporting. And if you look at club and country, he's now on 17 goals and 7 assists in 17 matches, which I'd say isn't the worst record out there, is it? Somebody get this man out of Portugal. I'm sick of him. He also assisted Sporting's opener in the first half, completely accidentally. It was a squared ball that he would finish 9 times out of 10, but it went through his legs, took a touch off of him though, and Nuno Santos finished it off. Absolute stat padding from Gyökeres. And in the second half, he basically showed off all of his attributes in this goal. Incredible strength, great speed to round the keeper and a few defenders before that, and then a cool finish. 2-0 Sporting. And finally, AC Milan defeated Club Brugge 3-1, but there was a moment in this match where it was really scary. So first of all, Pulisic with the opener for Milan, and wouldn't you know it, he scored an Olimpico straight from the corner and in. Not the cleanest Olimpico I've seen, but hey, they all count. Then Brugge go down to 10 men when Onyedika is sent off, only to equalize in the second half and actually dominate play for a spell, coming close to going ahead while they're a man down at the San Siro. I mean, what? But once Fonseca took off Rafael Leao and brought on Okafor and Chukwueze, Milan began running things again. The goals were similar, with Okafor setting up Reinders for 2-1, then a cutback from Chukwueze for Reinders to make it 3-1, and a win. Not a satisfying win for Milan at times, because as Fonseca himself said, quote, "A game without intensity, ball circulation was too slow, and we didn't understand the game well. Okafor and Chukwueze changed the game when they came on. It's not a punishment against Leao, who has to work to help the team like everyone else." Stade Brestois continue their incredible story in the Champions League. Now, when I saw Florian Wirtz score that goal, just stepping into the middle like that so easily, and then how he was tiptoeing around defenders and sending them for hot dogs for fun after scoring, I thought it was going to be a long night for Stade Brestois. But from an absolutely incredible volley from Pierre-Louis Milou, a beauty, Stade Brestois got their equalizer. Both sides could have taken the lead in this one, honestly. There were strong chances for each. More in favor of Leverkusen perhaps, but Stade Brestois were looking great in that second half. So 1-1, the dream lives on. Each team with 2 wins and a draw so far. Atalanta and Celtic played out a 0-0 draw in Bergamo, though Atalanta absolutely should have won. Mario Pasalic had 5 big chances and didn't score a single one of them. Atalanta had the second most touches in the opponent's box without scoring in a Champions League match, according to Squawka, which is just crazy, man. Manchester City hosted Sparta Praha, and while most of it was boring, the latter stages of the second half were pretty entertaining, namely Erling Haaland's acrobatic flying backheel goal, which was very Zlatan. His brace took him up to 44 goals in 42 Champions League appearances. Stupid numbers, really. In what was a great performance from Matheus Nunes, he got in on the act with a penalty to make it 5-0. And that was the final score there. No real surprises, except for Haaland's finish, which was a shocker, but not really a surprise that he can pull something off like that after what he did against Borussia Dortmund previously, as you'll probably remember. Inter went away to the plastic paradise that is the Wankdorf Stadium, where young boys call home, and they did not play well. Inter, that is, by their own standards. Well, the main thing that was missing for Inter was their finishing, to be honest. They were quite poor in the first half, where young boys were actually loading up on attempts, but none of them were really all that impressive or dangerous, to be honest with you. But in the second half, Inter improved, despite Arnautovic missing a penalty like right away. Yikes. But Inter improved, and with the changes that Inzaghi made, they finally got their breakthrough in the 93rd minute. Super late, but great work down the left from Di Marco and Lautaro. Di Marco then playing a low ball into the 6 for Thuram to tuck past the keeper. 1-0 Inter, as one would expect, or at least one would expect them to win. Remember last week when Lille defeated Real Madrid and Jonathan David became the second Canadian this year to score against Los Blancos? Well, David, as a super sub in this case, as Lille went away to Atletico Madrid, and man, he and they did it again. Atleti, I thought they were going to be better this season, but such is the life cycle of Atleti seasons, right? Just 2 wins in their last 7 matches, 2 of which were losses as well. Then they will find their form in early 2025. They'll probably get a win over Real Madrid at some point, and all will be right again for their 3rd placed finish. Anyway, sorry, getting a little bit off track there. Alvarez put Atleti ahead, but in the second half, Lille were dangerous on the counter. First, you had Zegrova getting the equalizer, absolute banger from him as he smashed it in from the right edge of the box to that far post. Oh, what a strike. 15 minutes later, Lille would call upon the Iceman once again, Jonathan David, from the penalty spot, and he made it 2-1. Bit of a strange penalty, to be honest. I mean, not how David hit it, he hit it purely, but the call in the first place. And then in the 89th minute, Lille would make it 3-1 as David's deflected strike would nestle into the corner. Disaster for Atleti to lose like this at home. Strange stuff, but shout out to Lille, who clearly have a bit about them this season, and clearly Lille owns Madrid. Benfica. There's the Benfica that I knew from the beginning of the season that caused me to think that they would get eliminated from this competition. Really poor display at home against Feyenoord. Feyenoord picking their way through our backline far too easily. Ueda and Milambo with the first 2 for Feyenoord. They also had one called off that would have been the dagger for Benfica. Then Kerem Aktürkoğlu pulled one back to give me some false hope, only for Feyenoord to get another late in stoppage time. So 3-1 Feyenoord in Lisbon. The Austrian sides are also kind of an automatic 3 points for clubs, Dinamo Zagreb went away to RB Salzburg and they got a 2-0 win. The disaster continues for Pep Linders as he is really failing to get a handle on the season. After losing 4-0 to Stade Brestois, they then lost 5-0 to Sturm Graz in Austria, got some relief with a win over Attack, and then went back to losing. That's just 3 wins, 1 draw, and 5 losses in his previous 8 matches now, so tough times for Salzburg. Remember when they were difficult to play against? Also, the one football admin was drunk. Look, I know it's rich coming from me as I have made these mistakes before in the past about forgetting to change scores, but 9-6 for Dinamo in Germany? What are we doing? The other Red Bull side lost as well. Leipzig hosted Liverpool, and if it weren't for some misfiring on the Liverpool side of things, it could have been ugly. Darwin Nunez with the goal, slamming in from Salah's header that looks like it was heading for the post. Pun intended, I guess. But regardless, the safe option was for Nunez to tuck it away. He needed that as well, because we saw the duality of Darwin in this match. Well, his goal wasn't exactly impressive, but we saw some sick misses from him as well. There were some close calls towards the end, with Openda scoring a goal from an offside position. Openda with a great opportunity to square to Poulsen at the end, but he played it behind Poulsen, etc. Kelleher also made some decent saves, but Liverpool get the 1-0 win in a tough stadium. And with that, for the first time in Liverpool's history, Liverpool have won their first 6 away matches of the season, which is pretty impressive from Slot and the fellas, and they'll have an opportunity to extend that record. And finally, we have Bayern going away to Barcelona, and this was exactly what Barcelona needed as a club. All the years of suffering against Bayern, the incredible embarrassments on and off of the pitch. But this season under Flick, things are looking fantastic. They look like a completely different club, and they have a ton of young talent that is going to be a big problem in the future. That's what this video is about, by the way, on my channel. Check it out if you haven't already. It's a positive thing for Barcelona. Anyway, they couldn't have asked for a better way to get themselves settled against an opponent that has trashed them in almost every meeting lately. Raphinha scoring a goal in the first minute of this match, as his form is unbelievable right now. By the way, this was kind of the battle of the high lines, wasn't it? And it was Bayern's high line that was the main issue in this match. Bayern would score one that was disallowed, and then another that stood, only for Robert Lewandowski to haunt his former team with a goal in the 36th minute. How good has he been this season? Great touch from Fermin Lopez, a little bit of a sombrero pass to Lewandowski to convert. And before the half was up, Raphinha would get his second of the match, keeping the defender on his toes. Can't remember who it was right now, but I'll put it in the edit. Then hitting a curling strike through the legs of Upamecano and just inside the post to make it 3-1 right before the half. Barcelona were genuinely scary in this one. And I mean, speaking of the high line, look at how Raphinha exploited it. Look at how much room he had over there. And he wasn't done, as in the second half, he would score in another different way. We had him rounding Neuer for the first one, then that curling strike, and then from a delicious ball from Lamine Yamal, he hit a low strike into the corner that Neuer couldn't reach. Just unbelievable stuff from Barcelona and Raphinha on the night, as they were deserved winners. I mean, when you see that the opposition manager is making a quadruple substitution in the 60th minute, then you know that you have done something right in this match, you know? Still have no idea how Kompany got this job, man. It really makes no sense to me. It never did, and it never will. So a 4-1 win for Barcelona, a deserved drubbing of Bayern, and can we please give appreciation to Pedri for this masterclass in this midfield? The guy was unplayable, he owned the middle of the park, he was pulling the strings in there. One of those performances where, and I'm not a comps guy, but you should watch a compilation of his highlights from this match against Bayern. Masterful from Pedri. And to the standings, where you can see that who else but Aston Villa sit at the top of the table alongside Liverpool. City is behind them, 3 English clubs, and then 2 French clubs that are not PSG, by the way. Here's the middle of the table. If you care to look at it, just go ahead and pause it. And at the bottom of the table, the clubs you'd expect: Slovan, Salzburg, Young Boys, Crvena Zvezda, etc. Harry Kane scored against Barcelona to add to the 4 he scored against Dinamo, so he's on 5, just ahead of Raphinha in the goals race. Igor Paixão leads the assists, and a shout out to Mateus Nunes, who, aside from the goal, got 2 assists against Sparta Praha. Maybe things will turn around for him. Alright guys, that's it from this video. Apologies for another video not coming out earlier in the week. My hands were tied there, but it's on the way. A video on Slot in Liverpool. Keep a lookout for that one, and I'll have more videos for you guys next week as well. Alright? Love ya. Have a great day. Bye.